Hi, welcome to my Research Grand Rounds presentation. My name is Shani Naomi Whiteman, and I will be reviewing evidence on the Mediterranean diet and Mediterranean lifestyle intervention and telomere length based on a randomized controlled substudy from PREDIMED Plus. I will analyze the evidence based on the JAMA randomized controlled trial worksheet and apply the findings to my clinical case. Olive is a 44-year-old woman with mild features of metabolic syndrome, including central adiposity and borderline triglycerides. She experiences high daily stress and reports low energy and fatigue. She has recently become more interested in healthy aging, especially after learning about telomeres and how they relate to long-term health. She wants to know whether adopting a Mediterranean diet and lifestyle could help preserve telomere length and support healthier aging. My research question links Olive's clinical interest to the available evidence. Since Olive has mild metabolic risk and is interested in healthy aging, I looked at whether an energy-reduced Mediterranean lifestyle intervention could help preserve telomere length. This aligns directly with the PREDIMED Plus telomere substudy, which compared an energy-reduced Mediterranean lifestyle intervention to a non-energy restricted Mediterranean diet. For the PICO framework, the population in the PREDIMED Plus telomere substudy was adults with metabolic syndrome, which is clinically relevant to my case patient Olive because she has early metabolic risk factors. The intervention was an energy-reduced Mediterranean lifestyle, which included diet, physical activity, and behavioral support. The comparison group followed a non-energy restricted Mediterranean diet. The primary outcome was change in leukocyte telomere length over a 1-year period. This PICO framework directly reflects the published study and helps guide my clinical decision for Olive. For my literature search, I used PubMed and combined terms related to the Mediterranean diet, telomere length, and randomized trials. I applied filters for human studies, adults, clinical trials, and articles published within the last 10 years. This search led me to the PREDIMED Plus telomere substudy, which directly evaluates the outcome I was interested in for my case patient, Olive. The study I selected is a 2021 randomized controlled substudy from the PREDIMED Plus trial. It directly measures changes in leukocyte telomere length after 1 year of a Mediterranean diet and lifestyle intervention compared with a non-energy restricted Mediterranean diet. This article was chosen because it aligns directly with my case patient Olive's metabolic profile and her interest in how diet may influence aging on a cellular level. The study begins by describing telomere length as a useful biomarker for biological aging, as shorter telomeres are associated with higher risk of chronic disease. The Mediterranean diet is highlighted because of its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, which can help reduce oxidative stress. Since oxidative stress is known to accelerate telomere shortening, the authors wanted to determine whether a Mediterranean lifestyle intervention could positively influence leukocyte telomere length over a 1-year period. This provides the foundation for examining diet and lifestyle as a potential modifier of cellular aging. This was a randomized controlled sub-study within the larger Predimid Plus trial. It included 80 adults with metabolic syndrome who had telomere measurements available at baseline and at 1 year. Participants were randomized to an energy-reduced Mediterranean lifestyle intervention that incorporated Mediterranean diet patterns, promotion of physical activity, and behavioral support. The comparison group followed a non-energy restricted Mediterranean diet based on the standard Predimid dietary guidelines. The primary outcome was leukocyte telomere length, and the study also measured 8-OHDG, which is another marker of oxidative DNA damage. This table summarizes the baseline characteristics of the 80 adults included in the telomere sub-study. The intervention and control groups were comparable at baseline in terms of age, sex distribution, adiposity measurements, and cardiometabolic risk factors. Because the groups were well balanced across these key characteristics, the randomization process appears to have produced similar groups before the intervention. This strengthens the internal validity of the results and allows for a more confident interpretation of differences observed a year later at follow-up. This table shows the 1-year changes in telomere length and oxidative stress markers. As expected, both groups showed some telomere shortening over the year. This is due to the natural course of aging. However, the intervention group experienced less shortening than the control group, which suggests better telomere maintenance. The interaction term between group and time supports this trend, even though the confidence interval is close to 0. We also see small favorable changes in 8-OHDG, the oxidative stress marker, in the intervention group. Together, these results indicate that the Mediterranean lifestyle intervention may help slow telomere shortening compared to the non-energy restricted Mediterranean diet. So in summary, overall, the study found modest but positive effects on markers of cellular aging. Both groups experienced some telomere shortening over 1 year, but the intervention group had less shortening, suggesting better telomere maintenance. The oxidative stress marker 8-OHDG also shifted in a favorable direction in the intervention group. So altogether, these results indicate that the Mediterranean lifestyle intervention may help slow telomere shortening and reduce oxidative stress compared with the non-energy restricted Mediterranean diet. For the JAMA appraisal, the study used randomization, although allocation concealment was not clearly described. Blinding was not possible for participants or clinicians, and laboratory assessor blindings was likely but not explicitly stated. The groups were similar at baseline, and follow-up at 1 year was mostly complete. An intention to treat analysis was not clearly specified. Overall, the study meets several key validation criteria, but some methodological details were not fully reported. I assigned this study a benchmark grade of B. The randomization controlled design, the relevance of the Mediterranean lifestyle intervention to olive, and the use of objective biomarkers all strengthen the evidence. The findings also align with what we see in the broader literature on the Mediterranean dietary patterns and healthy aging. But at the same time, the small sample size, the 1-year follow-up, and some missing methodological details do limit the overall strength of the results. The study participants were also older than Olive, so applying the findings to her requires some clinical judgment or adjustments. Overall, this represents moderate quality evidence that can support decision-making in her case. Based on the evidence from the Predimed plus Telomere sub-study, I do recommend that Olive adopt an energy-reduced Mediterranean lifestyle. This includes a Mediterranean dietary pattern, increased physical activity, and behavioral support strategies. The study showed less telomere shortening in the intervention group, along with small improvements in oxidative stress markers. This approach is safe, practical, and aligns with Olive's interest in supporting healthy aging and improving metabolic risk. In summary, this study found that the energy-reduced Mediterranean lifestyle and dietary intervention led to less telomere shortening over the course of 1 year and showed modest improvements in oxidative stress markers. These findings provide moderate quality evidence that this approach may help support healthier cellular aging in adults with metabolic risk factors. The intervention is practical, safe, and consistent with broader research on Mediterranean dietary and lifestyle patterns. Based on these results, an energy-reduced Mediterranean lifestyle is reasonable, and evidence-based recommendations for Olive as she works towards improving her metabolic health and supporting healthy aging. This concludes my Grand Rounds presentation. These are the references I used in this presentation, and thank you for listening. Thank you.